What is clicking, everybody? This is me, Poet Sean, also known as Pastor Sean, coming to you live with another episode of Death Church Radio podcast, and the Sean C. Stucki Show on Facebook, BitChute, and Trovo. But for today's video, it's not going to be a Christian video. About 2 months ago, I have just released the new private poetry reading that is in a collaboration with my friend who is a visual artist, it's more like a performer, as R. Gillis on the record. And so for today's video, I'm going to be playing the entire 12 tracks for you guys from the LP Floating Emerald Island, which I believe is the fourth private poetry reading. So this is the fourth installment to this kind of artwork that I do. And if you don't know from previous videos, even though I don't talk about this that much, I'm a poet and I have released 8 books, mostly of poetry collections. So go ahead and listen and tell me what you think.
All right, everyone, we're going to start with the introduction on the page, which is right here, right above the release date of December 25th, 2020.
Fourth private poetry reading. This is the force, the work, the reckoning. Made with a rose at the tip of my lip. Poetry performed in studio with both yours truly and performance artist R. Neil. Goth, Slice of Life, a poem about project. He plays Minecraft when not pulling souls out of the fire of burning wreckage. He drove an ambulance just like Ernest Hemingway plowing through no man's land in 1917. This is something you will not be able to comprehend. R. Neil's work and my work are beyond good and evil. The words on the page may be beyond your comprehension. Some of these poems aren't in any books or collections, so consider yourselves the rabbits of Farthing Wood. We are armchair trolls, and you are the tools to help the building known as my craft stand with good stiff scaffolds. I am the movie Drive, I am Los Angeles. This is better than any record you've ever heard from the 80s. 12 tracks of starbursts in colorful fusions. Listen to this with your girl on your phone or tablet under a Seraphin Moon.
Seraphim. Now let's start with number 1 for Floating Emerald Island. The bones fell from the holes.
Here it is. Floating Emerald Island. One poem and one night to open it all, okay? The bones fell from the holes. January 23rd, 2020. Are we the sheep walking off the steeple's top? I would say sure. To leap into the unquenchable waters because my father had copper blue hands after the 49ers game. He was so nervous that he rubbed the fabric off of his jeans. I walked to the back of the house like I'd done so many times, and I lied in between the sky. Then I thought on the man who discipled me from the medical field, aka the brain. The brain needs shoulder surgery after a code red at work that ended up being a discolored flag, which would have caused the me who wrote my child face to come back and swinging with fists like autumn tornadoes. The nervous, dark form of 2015-year-old me sublimated into the poet you're reading in your computer or listening right now. Not so much in the shades of Christ making the payment for earth's sins. I can now get down from my cross of Camp Lowell and all of the coal mine nightmares-esque. I know there's still 49 days left until I begin the next chapter of my life, this journey. But I feel I'm ready to disconnect from the high portion of luxury apartment living that I still cannot afford. I still cannot afford it. Move out right now. And I closed my eyes, laid with the sensible, reading old stories, as the sheep are watery, departed, bound off, as if possessed. But that's just it. Humans are Rubik's Cubes that are easily manageable. My father's bones fell through the holes of chaotic justifications, and I justify in opposite ways through the Spirit. Okay. The gentle caress of the summer wind from the album Big Daddy Goes to Somalia. Yeah, box them like grain. Wiener weight gang. I drank an entire bottle of red wine last night. Nightmares, scared, to mix with melatonin, then see the father of lights. Medium, light, pepperoni flat sauce. I've applied to become a pastor, then to be told to experience yet another loss. This is the last time at a funeral that I'm going to grieve. And I'm blind in a world of make-believe. We need you here at 8, the voices say, though I suffer from sleep terror disorder. But the amount of fucks I give are still on back order. Weed in the woods, tainted by benevolence, I'm the man that refused to be tied down. To be tied down. Are you down to clown with soul ecstasy in a box? Walking the blade's edge without boots or socks. The man who strolled along lone highways, holding hands with suicide, now has a mistress, Hithero of electric fortunes. Get some nice shoes for my scorched feet, taking off this Goodwill suit. Covered in pounds of Guinness. Can you be the queen of my world? It was the will of God's truth, so I give all my props. And there is one girl that I like to think, and you know who you are. At a break staring, thinking on 3rd grade Foursquare. The red turns green, and shit, I wasn't even aware. I'm trying to make this, Rob's texting me and just screwed up this track. Anyways. Shadow of death is near, dark side by my eyes, gripped the stick shift. Waiter, I want another round of the bullshit. I don't have to write out truths that I never said to you. Thankfully, everything is out in the open. Pandora's box stayed open. Do you know who you are? Yeah. There's a girl I'd like to thank, and you know who you are.
March 16th, 2020. For the last week, I've been licking my wounds. Blood flow has stopped. Though I have been sick for 2 months straight, all is well with my soul. Within the open restraints of living in a new city, my nomad body has laid rest at the Bird of Fire. In Arizona, I imagine myself sitting on top of a cement wall in the backyard while playing the Kruth to entice the graves under my feet of ancient Celtic ancestors. I do what I used to when living at my parents' house, reading outside here on a purple chair, a book on the Great Crucifixion while drinking a pot of coffee, a pair of bone saws left intentionally on the floor. OR assistants, nurses, scrub techs, directors, even surgeons are intentionally leaving the mess. And I've quit, and it feels like that I'm blessed, that I am the blessing that walked out of the door. After walking away from that horrible medical job, I've stopped asking, did Jesus die for this? To having a strong rose gold heart saying, he died for me. The cycle of Spitfires slowed to a halt like a wheel connected to a dying engine. Going from dead, buffed floors to miles of veridity. Being in the sick medical field told me lie after lie, leading to ripping apart scrubs out of anger and rage towards the evil doctors and corporate heads in the men's locker room, to the vitality and blooming of life. And I am now enticed, as if the birds outside were landing on my shoulders. This dove, with the reeds from lands past Noah's Ark, having a paper message in its beak stating that I am beloved. And my tears and petitions and prayers made a way to open this door. I put on the computer in OR5, Kiss Me Deadly by Generation X. Then, without logging out, whom the managers are very weighty about, shut off the lights, and then I let the song play on my last day. The air after the move has been purified, the cat is laying down in the sun, the judge of life has pardoned me, and I'd like to give a special thank you while I sing and sit atop of this wall.
Life Blooms, Part 2. End of poem.
Walking along paths with bits of sulfur on both sides, I watch with careful eyes. The hanging swords, hooks, the hanging gardens of the walls of destroying angels and whitish purple orchids. These grow to the base of the black cube, where the Antichrist is frozen forever in ice. Both bases want war just like every generation and peoples. He gets all of his power, but can do nothing with it. The longer I live, the better I can see Christ's teachings on the narrow path to heaven. This agreeable nature is the catapult set against your inner population. It feels like I'm splitting and walking into three different directions. Two phantoms of floating feet. The walls with paintings of mouths and eyeballs. The water in my hand. The beer that tastes like the ashes of an angel-dusted graveyard behind my ribcage. At times, I get afraid when taking melatonin and drinking an entire bottle of red wine that I will come into contact with the Father of Lights. When I shake my head, I feel all the nagging pains and all of my joints, the deep-seated issues carved by the Talmud into my epicenter brain. In these white page coffee-stained blues, I feel like I'm one of El Chapo's dogs. I've tried being the light stone my travelers carry and let it be as easy as possible, almost with no burden of weight, but my life's a carnival. Do you think the Holy Ghost moves around the leaves inside the green tea cups to show visions? But still, I groan to turn on my bed. I groan but no longer feel Satan laughing at me. I'm laughing while the river takes me wherever it's going to take me. In the time of the dark realm within wars in both, the rough and only time, giving self-judgment, dedicating this work to the Antichrist and the self. This poem is entitled, Hookers and Morphine, Candy as Flesh. The voices, bastard pieces of rags, walls that raised up, built quickly around the desires I care about. These night powders walk in, with enchanting bodies on the outside but bleach destroyed insides. The train spotting with horns that interrupted the lackluster comedian during his spoken word on stage. A pimp dressed nicely with eye slits like a viper. He, as a ghost, shakes a bag in front of me with a twisted smile, and I think, why am I the only one in the waiting room wearing a suit? My esophagus, the worm, it won't stop trying to slink out of my throat. I close my eyes to end a daydream state, prayed for the light angel's healing. She hands me a handful of razored barbed wire and a vision of Christ's dove wrapped within it. Light blue blood with spittle. With a big smile on the face of the sin within me, licking and sucking on the blood of the candy as the concept of flesh. I would keep it all inside once feeling the technicolor resolution of your world on mine like a knife. The humiliation of Babylon, low muted minds of most buying out the shelves with hygiene products. Rain runs across their ceilings within strung out horrors with the sniper bullets aimed at all of their brain stems. Car accidents from alcohol consumption. My friend Sean plays Dr. Mario to lift the drain lid on all he witnessed in broken, destroyed vehicles. Do they make the association to be free? They won't push mania aside. Super seductive on your weakest moments. Her love must eat. Pushing that mania aside, old mortals left the cold leaves of the fall. The struggle of most men, be it trauma, child abuse, boredom. We all walk together holding hands to the hookers, hyper drugs to sedate, a mix of both. We put on the long, dark, cherry red heels, then walk down the stairway of the tomb. They dance together like serpents, revealing coal mine darkness. I sit in the kitchen and smell the twilight, putting on sunglasses and laid back in a vaporwave painting on my off days, knowingly basking in Satan's knell.
This poem is entitled Give Pro a Bone. I'm trying to go to work. She wants another shift. Lane, vulture, turnbuckle perched. Shift, shaft, polywhack. Give a pro a bone. Bumpin' BD on Dre headphones while she licks on my ice cream cone. 4 out of 5 dentists are out of work, but I'm still going hard in my paint. Not many losses. Animal Crossing bosses ain't fucking with Groot. Nasty won't buy my fruit. I'm feeling stressful now. I'm trying to lead the crowd. If I was a light skin, I'd rock the family proud. This poem is entitled Uncle Pikachu, the poem, comma, an extended companion. Snowballed. Uncle took Greta to the G5 summit. How dare he? How dare she? Electric Mouse walks to the back to pop pills. Fireballed. Cowpeas scattered across the floor. They're inefficient workers. Him and Jeremy are slowly pushing mops at fries. Pikachu's fist is clenched, lights dim. Remember the days of Lieutenant Surge? Uncle's got an electric ball. Does he care? Pikachu, you have a call from your niece on the intercom. Grrr! The intercom lingers. Phone hangs up. He can't bear to listen to the grating sound of her voice. How dare you? Life smacked him in the balls like a rock smash from Onyx. Queen of the Doomers, Sweden, Doomer chapter. Foodie late calls, uncles in the drive-thru. Sriracha, curly fried, burger munching meal. Flaming hot, munching in. Flaming diarrhea out. I tried ending it all with evolving with a moonstone. Failed. One of my definite goals is to stop popping pills. $0 on my OnlyFans. Jeremy, Germ Wife, Pikachu, all cross-faded while watching Alien. Portrait of poor health. Like my gaze. He likes his shit flaming. All right. Melancholia studio apartment. 20 packs of beer. Moonlight, 100 proof. Jaeger, 15 stages of hell. Hello, Lucifer. He said, hey, I want to rape you. And they all had kids. Shit kids at that. I didn't want to date a bunch of bitches. Hardly life. Sonic Stacks, that's all the Genesis and Saturn cartridges. The games never play because the system goes black. It's like Muhammad was buried inside of a grown man's ass. Do we gotta empty out hell to fill heaven? At least it's a better life than shit kicking at Country Roads Bar. Every seating has its own tournament bracket. LSG era, Norpa era, Classic era, BD PPJ era. And I'm afraid of the black woman on the cereal bottle. I'm afraid of the puffy guy on the cinnamon box. But you gotta bite the bullet and go shopping. But I'm oddly okay with the bald dude from the cleaning products. What is it with my exes loving Samoans more than me? Wait, they weren't my exes. You know what? Roman Reigns and The Rock made me feel like less of a man. Oh Lord, why couldn't it have been Owen Hart in a buddy comedy with Kevin Hart? Brother from another mother. Once Kevin cheated on his wife, my incel brain went berserk. I was well out of high school when I moved into the Melancholia studio apartment. Baz, there was an explanation why the White House sent in the Coast Guard to take care of business. Maybe I should set up my own autonomous zone inside her house, in her room. Close off your mother cervix. Thank you.
My brother asked me about the diets I've been on lately as a kick, down 31 pounds in a month. You're not fat, he stated. I know, maybe I'm suffering from body dysmorphia. Not like the man bound to his wheelchair that runs the New York Quarterly. He knows who he is. Well, knock it off, my brother said. The potholes back in the dry molten boredom known as Tucson are as open as hunting seasons, with doves numbers so high you can't not snag hundreds of deaths with a few shells. But anyways, I spoke about a woman who asked how she could keep her meals down. I think I have more of it together than she does, but lately I've been starving myself. Why I feel the need to put this pen to the page in order to function is a great sordid mystery. Get it? That's the punchline. You ever meet anyone else driving camelback to the world coming down? I get it. My brother isn't patting me on the back with a pound of poison ivy glued softly to his hand. Watch the poison seep into my shoulders. We got nowhere to lay our roots, as vast as the dirt and broken up concrete that married each other. I got off the crushing diet, though my conscience lately weighs on my chest like yellow and gray electric barbells. With her and others, I stacked copies of my poetry collections on that dimly lit staircase. Didn't really work out the way I planned, but being still that I'm told I'm quote unquote Big Daddy, I throw swift high kicks so hard it sent the punching bag flying hard against the gray brick wall, but I keep my hands to my sides without any power. Red, she left me on that diamond with the moths, knowing the Holy Spirit that shines upon the empty tomb. I've already been told it's okay to close the front door at that house with the staircase, but it's got a big open crack. So did I still gain victory? He defeated death and I defeated myself. I burnt my lips and inside of my mouth, sucking it, the desperate light brown air as she chewed mouthfuls of peppers, telling me for one last time.
Do the poets still write about nostalgia? Written July 2nd, 2020. It's been strange to not come back to the poetry word. No one ever brings up this medium of style, but it doesn't bother me. We're being good, obedient citizens. We wear the masks we're told to wear. My fiancée Lily went to the drive-thru yesterday for the swab to find this coronavirus. The business stated that she's clean, so we drove for 6 hours to New Mexico for 4th of July weekend. There was an episode I saw when I was younger from some show about supernatural healing, where this kid that looked like Thurman Merman was yelling over and over after an exorcism took place in a sandbox. Come back! Come back! Come back! That's how I feel right now when it comes to the old wild days. I wasn't even writing these damn poems while getting blasted. I was writing lyrics for songs. Sang and rapped late into the Friday hot nights. The nights waking up every hour, checking my pulse. Feeling that the beats are an Aryan war drum rhythm all night, as if I was jogging in my sleep. The little lonely nights only felt that way the other 6 days of the week. Now, in July 2020, I've been working on a book that has been beating the ever-living shit out of me. Calling up one weird memory in a fever dream to have a confrontation with my subconscious. I am slowly going mad, but still keeping on a straight, normal face when around everyone. Wild drinking nights have been a friend you never wanted around because you know she's bad company. But those 4 hours of fueled insanity were to this point the best moments of my life. Maybe that's the thing about letting the black dog in your house. You have to be open to the possibility that it'll become unleashed, and the chaos that I want will morph from a dog to a black fire. Praying to the porcelain toilet is the inferno I can't get off my lap. After my fiancé's father told me about the 70-year-old man suffering a heart attack as he was drinking behind the wheel, it really put things into perspective. I lost my keys. Normally, the first thought that popped up was, I got nowhere to go? Now, it's I am a respected member of society, so I better look for them. When ideology calls, you gotta accept the charges. Some days, I have to come to grips with who I really am. I put aside the dreams and goals and accept how it is. It's a simple, slow kind of existence. Appealing. But deep down, I know it won't last. They never go away. Never surrender. That's how it should be, right? You strive to be the best you can be. And if you feel like giving up, you've already lost. Maybe I'm in need of a reset. A reboot of the days of our lives. The only problem is, I'm getting accustomed to what's already on. I'm settling in to the groove of life. A couch with the perfect shape of me. Don't change the station. I'm going on a binge.
This poem is entitled Seraphin Moon. By the wiles and the wheels, by the times coming from the triune God, we sit and we play our instruments right there, all the way in the back room, while the TV is blasting and thoughts are whirling. There is no coven. There is no blood omen. And the only tales that we weave are not of the screams of beasts, but like hands in imagination stringing the constellation webs like dental floss. With woman eyes, she stares at us from the bottomless pit as we are there in the four corners under the Seraphin Moon, making the beats, playing the instruments. There is no need to wander, being that there is no good desert to indwell in and to walk the path, but because of predestination and our overlording experiences, we play the music, we drink the beers, we allow the alcohol to take off more years of our lives, and we smile and smile big, knowing it's just for the moment.